I'm going to open my Diet Dr. Pepper.
Okay, well, I already did it, so your Dr. Pepper opening is now on YouTube.
Excellent.
Mine is in a plastic container.
Yeah, it's probably smarter that way. All right, here we go.
I probably paid less for mine than yours.
3. Actually, mine was free. I got it out of the fridge here at my office.
Well, someone had to pay for it. So.
That's true. That's true. Here we go. 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 216, recorded on February 7th, 2019. On tonight's episode, we discuss new NES games coming to the Switch. Nintendo is running a Splatfest this weekend. Vivox is opening its voice and text chat SDK for all developers to use, just like Fortnite. And Microsoft wants to put what on the Switch? All that and more in this episode. Jesse, cue the music. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Nintendo Dads. My name is Marty, and you're listening to episode 216, recorded on February 7th, 2019. With me tonight, as always, Mr. Jesse Waldack. How are you, buddy?
Greetings. I'm well. I was doing some late work both last night and tonight, and my daughter comes down the stairs around like 10 o'clock or so, sees me out on the phone and typing, and she goes, well, why are you working? I'm like, it's not just me. I'm on the phone with like 5 other people. We're trying to knock stuff out. So, and
you're
I told her it's easier to debug things when no one else is hitting the box.
Yeah, so you are a very necessary and popular man, Mr. Waldack.
Yes, I would agree.
Uncle Jesse is necessary. Not with us tonight are Justin or Gary. They could not make it, but we're going to handle the show. Lots of stuff to talk about tonight, and so we're going to just jump right into the news. Let's go. And our news is brought to us by you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads.
Is that what you wanted?
That is what I wanted.
Okay.
Did you know that for as little as $1 a month, you can become part of the great oneness that is Nintendo Dad's patronage? You get access to our Discord. You can come in and chat with other members. For $5, you get all the channels, because there are some our dollar patrons can't see. And then from there, $10 patrons get access to pre- and post-show content. $15 patrons get access to new exclusive videos that go up before they're ever made public on YouTube. And $30 patrons get to come on the show and as well get some exclusive art for the quarter. Guys, this week we have one brand new patron, and we want to say a huge thanks to Matthew Waldack for backing us. That's
good last
familiar.
Name. Yes.
That's a good last name. I bet he comes from good stock. Good stock.
That's yet to be determined.
Matthew, thanks so much for backing us over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. If you're not a patron and you're listening to the show, go over there, become a dollar patron, come join the conversation with us. And this is a great time to throw this out. If you are a patron, you also get access to our our pre-show gameplay tournaments. Tonight we played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe before the show. And there's actually Nintendo Dad's tournaments running in the Let's Play channel as well. Right now the game is New Super Mario Brothers Deluxe.
I tried the challenge and I was lousy.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal. But you go in the Let's Play channel, you can check that out. Also starting up very, very soon from one of our patrons, John Blanco. He and some other guys are beginning a Wargroove League exclusive to the Discord. That is going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Wargroove later on in the show. But before we do that, let's talk about the biggest stories of this week. Probably the biggest story that we can run with here in the beginning is that Microsoft announced this week that they would like to bring Xbox Live to iOS, Android, and yes, the Switch. As soon as they said this, of course, the internet went crazy with speculation, asking, what does this mean?
And this was kind of a leaked GDC announcement,
Yeah.
a part of their schedule, and then which then was shortly taken down once it blew up.
Yeah. And GDC has not happened yet, correct?
No, that's not until March.
Not until March. So I might not see anything firm up on this until then. But Jesse, this just seems like, and there's some more news that just kind of seems primed for you in this episode as well, as far as like SDKs and development and bugs and save data and stuff like that. But let's talk about this for a minute. What do you think this means? Xbox Live on the Switch. Are we going to see like the ability to connect to Xbox Live, or is it going to mean achievements, or could it mean playing Microsoft games like, streaming with Project xCloud and other stuff on your Switch eventually, which basically means I'm going to get to play Cuphead on my Switch, right? Right?
All of that's a possibility. We've already seen crossplay and achievements with Minecraft.
Right.
So I think those are... I would just expect to see more of that. Whether we'll have access to their Xbox Games on Demand service or whatever they call it, I don't know, because the Switch would require a separate build than the PC version and the Xbox version, and which would in most cases need to be dumbed down a little bit. But
right,
if they're willing to put forth that effort, there's definitely a possibility.
Yeah,
we probably won't know more until GDC happens.
Sure, and I think that brings up an interesting point of money and effort, right? Are they willing to spend the money and put forth the effort to port Halo to Switch, right?
Okay. Well, basically, they're seeing where the... they're seeing where the people are, and Xbox One's getting close to end of life. I wouldn't surprise me if Switch will outpace Xbox One by next year. We don't know how many Xbox Ones are out there, but as of like a year ago, it might have been 30 million.
I think I saw I saw an infographic earlier tonight on a group that I'm a part of on Facebook, and it was like, consoles ranked via lifetime sale. Of course, PlayStation 2 was at the top, right? And it showed the Switch's current standing at like 32.3 or whatever. Xbox One on that graph was sitting at 39 million.
I would believe that. I think a year ago they were near 30.
Yeah, so 39 million. So the Switch is only 7 million behind.
Yeah, so within a year, I think
I would say this time next year, right? This time next year they probably pass the one. But here's the thing: Minecraft. I don't want to say it's an anomaly. I don't know that that's the right word to use, but I think Minecraft, it's an easy port, right? It's on everything. If you can port Minecraft to the 3DS, then it can exist on the Switch.
Right. Though the 3DS doesn't have the version that is cross-compatible. Sure. That does require a little bit of extra effort.
What I'm saying is that you're able to put that experience pretty much anywhere, right? Yeah. I mean, a phone can handle the Bedrock version. The Switch can handle Bedrock version. On the other hand, are we going to see the same care and the same ability given to the or same time and money spent for a port of a game that obviously won't run as well on the Switch, like Halo 5 or Halo 6 or whatever? I mean, I think the Switch could absolutely run Cuphead completely 100%. But the problem is, again, I'm going back to those two words, time and effort, right? And right. I think it's just like this opens up some interesting possibilities. But I want people who are listening to kind of get this. It's fun to speculate, but I would not get my hopes up that it's going to be Project xCloud or Games with Gold immediately.
Right. I'm not sure it'll be Games with Gold. They have another service. Kind of some, but
Game Pass. Game Pass is what
Game
it's called.
Pass. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I misspoke when I said Games with Gold.
Yeah. And even if they do, I doubt it'll be like the full library because everything will have to be ported. But we could get a game or two a month
What you've got to
Right.
ask, and the legitimate question I think that we need to think about is, what does it profit Microsoft to allow its exclusives to go to Switch via Games Pass, right?
People like me who don't have an Xbox, I'm a
Sure. I
I
mean,
am one of their potential customers at this point.
same here. Same here. But if the Switch can handle Resident Evil 7 without doing the cloud thing, then I don't
Right.
I just don't see how this is going to happen. I don't see how it's going to work.
Yeah. Again, it's a game by game basis, and a lot of
Right.
it will probably have to be dumbed down a little bit.
I think
Less.
I think we would probably see like Xbox Live features and trophies and friend lists and possibly some crossplay games like we're seeing right now. Like Wargroove is crossplay Xbox to Switch, Minecraft's crossplay. Um, I can't like the
Is
others are
Wargroove
just
even on PS4? I know it's not cross compatible with it.
it's not on PS4 yet. It is the only platform that it has not been released for.
Okay.
They just said it was coming soon, and it may be out now, but I know it didn't. It was not day and date with the other platforms.
Yeah, I'm
I know
checking.
Rocket
It's
League is
not there.
crossplay. So I mean, there's that there, and I know like Microsoft and Nintendo are BFF right now. You know, buddy buddy, whatever. But I mean, let's be. I would say the phrase I would use here is cautiously optimistic, right? Let's be cautiously optimistic because this is still a company who has invested and sunk millions and millions of dollars into video game development, and they're not just going to roll over and turn Xbox into games as a service on another platform and not try to make it benefit themselves ultimately in the end.
Because this is, maybe telling that the next system may not be what Xbox owners are wanting. We don't know. There's rumor. The rumors are that they might have multiple SKUs. One be like your more traditional box that'll take discs. There's rumors of one that will be disc-less and is digital only and or streaming only at a cheaper price.
So is it more? Is Xbox more?
Xbox 2.5?
Is Xbox more becoming games as a service? Is really I think where you have to kind of go with that. Is it
a lot
like
of the AAA games? Quoting another YouTuber, a lot of that's going on, and
well, I mean, they're still getting them, and it's still powerful enough to do that. But
yeah,
I mean, competition's healthy for any industry. And as much as people say, well, we'd hate to see Nintendo go, I would hate to see Microsoft go out like that because, the Xbox 360 for that generation was my favorite console of that generation. I mean, and mainly because there were memorable games that I played, like AAA titles or exclusives or whatever. But one of the main reasons that I love the Xbox 360 so much was the Xbox Live Arcade. I mean, there were some great games, Castle Crashers and Shadow Complex, and many many others that came out on and that were only available there.
Which is kind of conflicting a little bit about what happened, what they announced at E3 with them staffing up developers.
Yeah.
So unless a lot of these new teams, are working on stuff that aren't exclusives, and possibly cross-platform.
So if it's not exclusive, let's play devil's advocate here for our good friend Jacob Rush over at Nintendo Nostalgia. So if this gets announced at GDC, do we see a second DLC drop for Smash and it's Banjo-Kazooie or Steve?
Maybe in a second wave of DLC later, but I don't think this is going to instantly drop these as part of the 5.
You don't think a Microsoft character is going to be part of the first 5?
No.
Okay.
I can see Minecraft.
See, here's the thing. I know this is going to, ruffle some feathers, but I think Steve has a much greater chance of being the DLC pick than Banjo-Kazooie.
I agree. Yeah, and because
More people
well,
know
I guess
Steve.
yeah,
More people know Steve.
Yeah, this next statement I'm going to say also applies to Banjo, but the character existed before Microsoft got their hands on it. But I agree with you, Steve has more recognition than Banjo Kazooie. A
Sure.
lot of
Sure.
Banjo Kazooie, people our age wants it. A 14-year-old rando probably doesn't even know who he is,
Yeah.
but he knows who Steve is.
All I know is that if they announce Steve for Minecraft for Smash, it's going to like shatter my 11-year-old's mind. Like he is just not going to know what to do with
I would say
himself.
literally
Whereas,
figuratively as in yourself and literally as in your son.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I just know that like this first DLC drop that comes out, like I showed him the video and he's like, "Who's that?" He has no clue who Joker is.
See, but I was excited, and I'm not a Smash player.
Tonight we're playing Mario Kart, and somebody kept referring to him as the Joker. When does the Joker come out?
No, the Joker is a Batman character.
I would like that.
This
Joker.
is just Joker.
But anyway, let's move on. Here's the deal: GDC is coming in March. Supposedly there will be some kind of announcement then.
I pulled up the exact date, but I closed the window before I told you.
And so that's about a month away.
The week of March 18.
Okay.
It's all week, so Monday to Friday.
Hopefully by the end of March, we'll at least know some more firm things about this.
We'll probably know as soon as Microsoft's panel's over, whatever that is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
Let's see. I'll try to look at the schedule while we go on and see when Microsoft's talking.
Also announced this week, Vivox, who is the supplier of the voice and text chat SDK for Fortnite on the Switch. This developer has now opened up its voice and text chat SDK for all developers to use on any game that they would like to. I know that Paladins is going to be taking advantage of this. Smite has already announced that it is going to be taking advantage of this. And before you ask, here's what I think. There is absolutely no way that Nintendo is going to take advantage of this.
Not in first-party games.
No, it's not happening. No. But they are opening it up to third-party games to circumvent Nintendo's app, which is smart yet sad at the same time.
I agree. I like that term.
It's smart yet sad, and I say that because it's smart because people want it. People want to be able to chat like that on the Switch and be able to use the capability.
The Nintendo DS could do that in Gen 4 Pokemon.
Yeah, the way that they could with other any other system. It's sad because it just shows.
Maybe Gen 5, but one of them did.
Behind, right?
Right.
And so, it works great in Fortnite. It really does. And I don't understand why Nintendo would not embrace it other than the fact of stubbornness. Stubbornness will keep them from embracing it because they've committed to the app and they're going to do it. If they did not take the Apple offering from Discord when Discord said, "Hey, let us do this for you," they're not going to take it from Vivox either.
Right.
They'll let it happen on third-party games, but we mentioned this to say just simply look forward to more real chat options coming to third-party games in the future. I don't think that there's any multiplayer third-party game that should pass up the opportunity to use this on their software from here on out. It just makes too much sense to do. It should just work seamlessly. And maybe, who knows, maybe Nintendo will jump in and prove me wrong and I will gladly eat crow, but it's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. Speaking of not going to happen, we are now in the longest drought ever between Nintendo Directs. We have officially entered uncharted territory here. Previously, the longest time um, was somewhere in the Wii U era. Um, I'm actually going to look this up because I saw it earlier this week. But Nintendo still is is not doing a Nintendo Direct. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. The last General Direct that Nintendo held was in September, which was 5 months ago. At during that Direct, they announced Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing for Switch, and Town, which is the new game from Game Freak. And I mean, you could argue that there was a Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Direct in November, but really that was just for one game, right?
Right.
So doesn't really count. Um, and so
And same with the indie showcase from, what was it, last month? That kind of not what we're looking for either.
right.
We want to know about the first party games.
Yeah, and the thing was, is the last time they did an indie showcase in the UK, they followed up with one that was specific for North America as well.
Yep.
About 2 weeks later, and we
So
still haven't gotten
I was kind of expecting one to sneak up on that, and that didn't happen either.
Yeah. So it was also rumored this week by Emily Rogers, who I mean, take it or leave it, right? I will say that Emily Rogers completely and totally predicted Mario and Rabbids months before it was announced.
Yeah, she's been hit or miss, but she has had hits.
Yeah, she's had some hits, right? She reported earlier this week that it was, or rumored, well, I'm going to say it's reported. If reported would mean it's happening, but rumored earlier this week that Nintendo has between 7 to 11 unannounced games in the pipeline just for this year alone. And I am going to call it, that is BS. I don't see how they're going to put out 11 first party games.
Yeah, maybe on the low end of that range, I can see that.
7, maybe 5. I mean, let's. I know we've talked about this, but like Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Daemon X Machina, and did they say Town was 2019, or did they just say coming in the future?
I don't recall. Well, I can see what my notes show, but from last time we heard.
Right. So if we take Town off and we put Yoshi's Crafted World back in, that's just 5 games for this year. So to add a little fuel to that fire, Nintendo themselves this week said that they are preparing at least, quote, one unannounced game that, quote, fans will be delighted to know.
I have Town as a 2019.
Okay, so Town possibly is this year. And I think, did I leave Animal Crossing off that list?
I think you did.
Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Daemon X Machina, Animal Crossing, Town. That's 6. And then you add Yoshi. That's 7. So there's your 7 right there. So if you add this unannounced game, then there's 8. So they would have to have 3 more that they've not even talked about that are first party. Now, here's my question. Is it counted first party if it's a game they're publishing and not developing?
I think it depends on the game. Normally,
Dragon Quest
a lot of people,
7.
that one, no, definitely. I think that would not be considered.
Okay.
Because that's definitely Square. Like Game Freak. That's kind of wishy-washy because Nintendo's not developing it, but they are stakeholders in ownership of the companies involved. So yeah, that one maybe. But yeah, I don't know if they own enough to Square to matter.
Right. Yeah. I got you. I'm just.
So I call that.
I'm just kind of spitballing on that and trying to think about it because, like, I'm trying to think about what these other games could be, and the speculation, of course, Nintendo has a problem, and this is kind of what I want to focus on here. Nintendo right now has a misinformation problem, and misinformation problem.
That's been happening pretty much the entire lifespan of the Switch, because we didn't know of what the Switch was going to be until like September the
Yeah.
previous year, and
And
people have been
so
saying, "What is it? What's the NX? I want to know."
here's the problem. Here's the problem. Okay. So they have a misinformation problem, and they are the cause of the misinformation problem. At
Hmm.
this point, they are the sole 100% responsibility holder of this information problem. They are doing this to themselves. The stock downturn, all of this, the negative press online, Nintendo is doing this to themselves by their refusal to step up to the microphone and say, this is what's coming next. Because they have been doing that for so long and they have controlled the narrative so much that now we expect that, and we're trained. We're Pavlovian dogs. We're trained. January, you get a direct. Then you get to, you have one before E3, and then you have E3, and then there's one in September, and then there's one in January. You get what I'm saying, right?
And because they haven't done this, people are crawling around for information, leak something, and then it seems as a response to the leak is Nintendo delays the messages even more.
Right. Like
Like
the
that's
leak
not
this
the solution
week,
here.
It's gotten to the point where we're literally like looking at placeholder dates from retailers and going, oh, that's a release date. Oh, this retailer in Germany says that that nobody's ever heard of Luigi's Mansion's coming out in September, man.
No.
Like here's the problem I have with this, and here's
Yeah,
why it upsets me so bad. What upsets me so bad is that 2017 Nintendo was so good. 2018 Nintendo was great. Like, and I'm saying so good's better than great, right? So
yeah,
good, or maybe I should just say good. 2018 Nintendo was good.
yeah.
So far in 2019, Nintendo feels like Wii U era Nintendo.
Crickets.
No, I mean, like this feels like what we got during the Wii U. They've fumbled it. They fumbled information. They've mismanaged everything. They're completely silent. There's delays everywhere. I mean, it's to the point they delayed a mobile game.
Right.
And I get like, okay, yeah, Metroid Prime 4 was so bad they had to delay it. It was crap. I mean, that it had to be. It literally had to be a steaming pile of dog manure for them to do what they did and reboot it and come out with this big video of apology and everything. But what are they doing? Is 2019 so vapid that Metroid Prime 4 being delayed has ruined everything and has sent them into this tizzy that they can't get out of?
I think they are trying to refigure out what to do. It's taken longer than they want it to be, and thus delaying the message further. At least I hope that's what's going on.
That's what worries me. If it's taken them this long to recover from one game delay, then I'm worried about the rest of 2019.
Well, it's been like 3 game delays.
Well, okay, that's the major game delay, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the reboot.
I don't know, man. And maybe I'm being too harsh or whatever, and maybe I'm just like really upset about the NES games coming out. That like the second month of only having 2 games, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But it just like this feels like Nintendo had. We were talking about this tonight playing Mario Kart. There was such a great momentum coming out of 2017 into 2018. Then 2018, they're coming out and they're reporting all these super strong sales. And now the Switch is a household name, and everybody knows what a Switch is, and everybody wants one. And there's tons of indie games jumping on board. Third parties are doing what they're supposed to for the most part. And then nothing. It boggles my mind. And the only thing I can think of is that we did not have this level of misinformation and this level of Nintendo-ness when Kimishima was president.
True. Yeah. I forgot about
And
the
I
new
think
management going on.
I honestly feel like this new president is a mistake. And because I feel like he's returning them to that very close, very, guarded, very, we're not going to say anything because we're Nintendo. We're very stoic. And Kimishima was fun. Yeah, he didn't do directs and he didn't do all that. But I mean, look at all the information we got during that time. right? Look at how open he was, and look at how the company flourished in that time. And he literally just walked into Nintendo and he's like, "I'm here for just a little bit, and I'm here to make money." And that's what they did. And
Yep.
they made money by being smart, and they made money by being informative to their fans. And then here we are, and I mean, it affects us. It affects all shows that cover Nintendo and do that, because it's like, what do you cover? I mean, we're at a point where we're literally freaking out over voice chat SDKs for third-party games, for free-to-play third-party games. I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand how we can go from what we've had over the last year and a half to where we are now. And if you're listening and you're watching and you want to like help me out here in the chat or whatever, we'll talk about it. But like as a Nintendo, and I'm gonna let me step out of the Nintendo podcast host role. And let me step into Marty, the Nintendo fan. I am extremely disappointed in a company that I love. That I'm disappointed in the lack of information, and I'm disappointed in the lack of direction. That's the part that worries me more. Is it seems like, oh crap, we're in the middle of the ocean and we don't have a clue where to go.
Yeah,
and maybe
I don't. It's not bothering me as much as it's bothering you, just because I still have a big backlog. So if nothing of importance comes out for the next few months, I'm okay. But I know not everyone is in my boat.
And I am in your boat. I'm in the backlog boat, right? Like I'm so in the backlog boat. But the problem with it is that not everybody's in the backlog boat. And now stuff is starting to add up in my mind. Why are they reducing the forecast for sold systems? Oh, maybe it's because they don't have anything. Maybe it's because they really don't know where they're going. Maybe it's because they're about to blow it up big like the Wii U. I'm not saying that the Switch is going to fail or flop or anything. Nintendo is doomed or whatever. But like my prediction last year, if you remember 2018, one of my predictions was Nintendo will let us down. Maybe this is this year. Maybe that's this year. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we still have 11 months left.
We do. We do. So maybe it's a little histrionic. I don't know. It's just like it's just like I get sick of seeing like, oh, we're going to announce another game with a tweet. No, you could like all of this stuff that they've done over the last 2 weeks could have been a direct. And the argument that I've heard was, well, there was no big game. There was no big like placeholder game. They've done directs before where they didn't have big placeholder game. And they were fine. Yeah, at least they were still communicating.
As long as they talk a little bit about a number of things, that'll fill 20 minutes and feel like we got information.
I mean,
not everything has to have a Metroid or a Luigi's Mansion in it.
Yeah, like they're trying to keep the 3DS alive, right? So Yokai Watch
they want to. It doesn't look like they're almost ready to throw in the towel on that one.
Yokai Watch 3 is coming out this month. Where have we heard about that at all in a direct? Not.
Yeah, and Persona Q2, which apparently sold like crap in Japan.
That is probably the reason. That is probably the reason that Joker is in Smash. Where have we heard about that?
Not yet.
I mean, like it's not like they don't have anything to promote or say or do. And I don't know if they even like. Do they know? Do they know people are upset?
Oh, I'm sure they must.
And if they know, do they care?
That's the that's the question.
Do they care that people are upset, or is it just ha ha ha? It prints money. I don't know. Let's move on to another topic that I'm upset about, and let's just roll it all into one.
NES games.
It was announced this week that next week we're getting an update to the Nintendo Entertainment System on the Switch, and we're getting some new games. Yay, new games! Right, we're finally getting Super Mario Brothers 2. Super Mario Brothers 2, greatest game of the year. We're getting it. I love it. I'm going to be able to play Super Mario Brothers 2 whenever I want. And also we're getting Kirby's Adventure, which is an amazing game. But we're only getting 2 games again. Japan is also getting Supari Ozumo, which is a sumo
突っ
wrestling
張り
game.
大相撲
There you go. I even said it right. I'm so
You
glad
did.
you put the clip, though. They're getting the sumo wrestling game. Last month, they got the game that Sukapan is in. By the way, if there is a worse, more annoying assist trophy in Smash than Sukapan, find it. God, I hate Sukapan. I love it when I find him and he pops out and I'm like, oh yeah, everybody else is dead because Sukapan's like a destruction machine. But seriously, this is the second month in a row that Japan is going to get one more game than us. Now, I get it. It's not translated.
When my son plays Smash, he has items off, so I don't see all these extra fun stuff that you all see. So,
well, he's playing Smash wrong. I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matthew. Playing it wrong. I mean, we're getting two great games. Don't get me wrong. I'm not upset about that. I'm upset about the fact that for the second month in a row, not only do we get one less game than another region, but we also don't have a roadmap of where they're going with this. When we launched the online service, we knew what 20 games we were getting when it launched. We knew what games we were getting in September, October, November, and December.
Right.
We had to wait until the week before to find out January's games, and now we've had to wait till the week before to find out February's games. I don't understand. It, like, obviously you're working on these. Why not just put an infographic out? March, April, May, June. 4 months out.
Get us through E3, and then at E3, give us the next few months.
Sure. I mean, it's not hard. They could have come out swinging January 1 with a direct and said, here's the lineup of NES games for the next 6 months. And I'm going to say, I know some people like this and some people don't. SP games, an extra SP game every month is not a substitute for an original game. It's not.
Right. And even sometimes Japan gets an extra SP game that we don't.
Yeah. This month they're getting 5 games. We're getting 4. My problem exists in this. We are paying essentially the same amount of money in all regions, all of us who have Nintendo Switch Online, yet there is one region that is getting more value for what they're paying than the rest of us. Why take a service that people are already heavily critical of and give it less value? Nintendo, please help a brother out here. I love you. I love you so much. Nintendo changed my life. But honestly, like, does this mean eventually here in North America and other regions that read English that we're going to get exclusive games too? Like, is there ever a time we might get Fester's Quest? Or is there a time where we might get some of those games?
That sounds like a licensing nightmare too.
It does too. Absolutely, it's a licensing nightmare. But do you get
especially
what I'm
since
saying?
they're making a new Addams Family movie, so someone's got the license,
right? But you understand what I'm saying? Like, if they're going to get exclusive games, do we get exclusive games too eventually, or are we just going to continue to get 2 games? Like, there's games in Nintendo's back catalog from the NES, like early NES days.
I know there are some NES games that we had that they didn't, but I don't think there's very many.
No, well, but what I'm talking about is like even just black box games, Jesse, that they could be putting on this service right now that I don't understand. What, like, where's Punch Out and baseball and
do we have baseball?
Tennis is in there, right? Already? Is soccer in there?
Soccer's not in there.
Like, those are softballs, like here at the very beginning, right? That and it's also a great time to cross promote with Smash. Like, oh, so you played Pac-Man and Smash. Well, here's Pac-Man on Nintendo Switch Online.
Feature stuff like that on their Spirit board for the week.
Yes, and then that way you're having all of these. Like, if we have that open back catalog like that, and then they want to do exclusive Japanese games, I don't mind. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like, make sure every region gets 3 and then let them have an extra exclusive game and maybe don't give them an SP that month. And on the subject of SPs, I do not want an SP version of every game, or I want the ability to delete them or hide them.
That I like that idea. You know, hiding a game.
Because I don't need an SP version of every game you've released on Nintendo Switch Online.
And especially when that SP is just throws you at the final boss.
Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah, both of them last month did that. I forgot what the other one was, but
Ghouls and Ghosts. It was Ghouls and Ghosts. They put you at the final level on the first playthrough. By the way. Yep.
Oh, someone told me it was the second.
You don't have the shield. You don't have the cross weapon.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. If that was the case.
Yeah. So it's still hard. Like, for me, if it's an SP version, make me invincible. Like, let me finally be able to beat Ghouls and Ghosts, right?
Right.
At least something like that. I'm gonna look. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna enjoy playing Super Mario Brothers 2 and Kirby's Adventure. I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy these two games. But man, I just like this. What are they doing? What are they doing?
Some people was asking if Japan is getting which version of Mario 2 is Japan getting?
Yep.
Are they getting Doki Doki Panic or are they getting Super Mario USA? It sounds like with what I've read, it sounds like they're getting Super Mario USA.
They are.
They are. You know, I don't know if Doki Doki Panic will have its own levels of licensing anymore.
Yeah, because it has like TV station characters, didn't it?
Yeah.
They were created to promote like Wonder Fest or something like that.
Yeah, I think the 4 characters are based on humans.
Yeah. And then here's another interesting question, Jesse, from that. If they ever do get Super Mario Brothers 2, the real one, the Japanese version, will we get it?
Well, we have
to wait? Do we have to wait for the Super Nintendo games to finally launch and get Super Mario All-Stars?
They have released an NES version of Lost Levels, so if that ever happens, we could get it.
The only place it was ever released was Virtual Console, though.
Still, this is basically what this is. It's just a ROM playing an emulator.
I get your point. It exists there. My thing is, though, is that when it was released for Virtual Console, if you remember, it had like on the little like place you could click, it had a Japanese flag on it. And NES games were 500 points, and it was 600.
Yeah, it had a little import tax.
Because if they're Japanese, it was, they're worth 100 more points. I never did understand that. But
yeah, Dan in the chat asks if Lost Levels wasn't that on Super NES. Yes, it was originally released in the U.S. as part of the Mario All-Stars, but it was released in Virtual Console NES on its own and later on.
Yeah, and I bought it on Virtual Console on the Wii just to be able to play it, like just to have that, like play the authentic version, right?
That game's insane.
Because I played the All-Star version, and I like Mario All-Stars, but there's things I don't like about it now that I'm older. Like there's some of the design choices I'm not just super happy with.
Warp zones that'll send you backwards.
Well, no, I'm not talking not like game design choice. I'm just talking about the way the game looks or the way the game sounds. Like as a kid, I was like, "This is awesome! It's 16-bit Mario." But now, I would much rather play the NES version of Super Mario Brothers 2 than the Super Nintendo. I don't know, something about the music. It's just off. But anyway, those are coming out next week, February 13th. 2 games. I'm sure we'll get 2 SP games as well.
Yeah, and that Suparu Uzumu. I already forgot.
Suparu Uzumo.
Yeah, apparently Google translates that to once in a while. So I'm not sure how true that is, but I was amused that it actually had a translation.
Yeah,
I put it into Google Translate just to get the audio out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did, because that I could not have pronounced that if you didn't. A couple other news items. Let's be a little bit more cheery moving forward here. Piranha Plant is now available to purchase if you missed the free code from buying Smash. So if you just bought Smash and you weren't able to register to get Piranha Plant, you can now buy him. He is $5 for the individual character, which is kind of surprising in a way that it's that expensive.
I would have expected it to be more like 2 or 3.
Yeah, because there's no stage, there's no extra music, there's
right, because the other DLC packs, I think, are selling all those individually for $5 each.
Yeah. I just think that they probably priced him that way to have him fall in line with the other DLC packs. Still doesn't mean that it's not disappointing that you didn't get a stage and music with that. But Piranha Plant has kind of caused a furor online as well. And I'm going to let Jesse speak to this one here in just a minute with his programming background. When Piranha Plant was first downloadable, almost immediately afterwards, it was reported that playing as Piranha Plant in All-Star mode would corrupt your save file data and wipe out your progress.
You have to be playing in a specific stage against specific other enemies or other fighters. It was a really specific situation.
Right, yeah. And then there were even reports that it happened with other characters since Piranha Plant was downloaded, but Nintendo claims to have checked this out and, quote, says, "We are unable to recreate the bug. It is non-existent." So, Jesse, speak to us, because when I typed that in and said that, you began to chuckle. Why?
Well, it doesn't work that way. You know, obviously it exists, otherwise people wouldn't be complaining. It's because you can't find it. But you know, and I had that problem. We have that problem at work too. Someone says, "Hey, your system did this," and I'm like, "I don't see how it can do that." And eventually, after digging, we do figure out what happened. But you know, this has to happen somehow. It's just, I think they're throwing in the towel too soon on this.
And that's just going to make people angry, because they're going to it could potentially be an issue and more people lose their.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they're lying that, "Oh yeah, we checked it out." No, you didn't. But maybe they, knowing Nintendo's grasp of online capabilities, sometimes maybe they didn't check it out enough. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. This kind of reminds me of the whole, I guess, what was it, Scratchgate? You know, "Oh, the doc's scratching my Switch," you know, and then they say it's not, and then they say it is, and back and forth. It's always something. Splatfest is this weekend. Pancakes versus Waffles. It begins at 11 p.m. tonight as you are listening to this podcast.
Why not French toast?
Well, because French toast would simply be too powerful, Jesse.
Okay,
French
I'll
toast
give you that.
would simply be too powerful. I will say this: if the ink that you are shooting in this Splatfest does not look like maple syrup, they have missed an opportunity.
Maple syrup mousses.
There you go. There you go. It runs 11 p.m. Friday night through 11 p.m. Saturday night. Those are CST times, since we are in the Central Time Zone. Adjust those for yourself. But go on over and boot up Splatfest 2 or Splatoon 2 and join in the Splatfest. I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm Team Pancake.
I don't know what I'd pick.
I'm Team Pancake because
I like waffles. I just don't like making them. More specifically, I don't like cleaning up after it.
If it's the big waffles that you can make at hotels, where you don't have to clean them up, then yeah, I'm Team Waffle. But pancakes, like if somebody can make me crispy edge pancakes, have you ever had like pancakes that have just a slight little crispy edge?
Yeah.
Those are good. I love them. I love pancakes with a crispy edge. So I'm going to be Team Pancake. Come join me. Just look around this weekend. I might be playing. Invite me to a game of Splatoon 2 pancakes. Wargroove
that sounded creepy.
Last week, which we have been super hyped about, and it is just as good as I thought it would be. Apparently, a lot of people think it's just as good as they thought it would be, because Wargroove broke even after the first 3 days on sale. And as of right now, it is #1 in the eShop, both on the overall list and the digital only list. It dethroned Smash for #1. So I feel like Chucklefish and the folks over there have a bona fide hit on their hands, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to what we've been playing.
I'd be interested in to see what the breakdown is with Switch versus PC versus Xbox.
Yeah, because and that's a good point too because it's not on PS4 yet.
Right.
So once it launches there, it's just going to pick up more momentum. They did mention this week too, a patch is on the way to fix some things, but that there will definitely be DLC coming for Wargroove. So there's going to be more content in the pipe for that, which is really good. And speaking of the eShop, Nintendo announced today that beginning on February 15th, which is next Friday, a week from today, that a new Nintendo Switch bundle will go on sale for $299.99, that it comes included with $35 eShop credit, which is a tremendous, tremendous value. It's basically like you're getting a Switch, as Jesse and I were talking earlier. It's like you're getting a Switch for like $235.
Yeah,
Or I'm sorry,
$265.
$265.
Yeah, so
That's a lot of eShop credit.
I think this is kind of like, so I saw this as being the first step of potentially lowering the costs of this version of the Switch, which will then lead to a new version of the Switch that'll go back in that $300 slot.
Right. I don't know about that. I think they just want people to buy eShop stuff.
That too.
But
because they make money both ways.
Right. Yeah, they do. And so $35, I mean, that's enough to get you several things. I mean, Wargroove's 20. Lots of games. I mean, you could get Dead Cells is 25. There's tons. Enter the Gungeon. I talked about that in a while around here. Enter the Gungeon's 15. You could get Wargroove and Enter the Gungeon and be set.
Buy the Smash Fighter Pack or Fortnite season.
That's true. Yeah. Absolutely. There's tons that you can do with the $35 eShop credit. And I think that's an extremely smart bundle for them to have done. And it'll be interesting to see how that sells. It's really pushing that, the digital side of the Switch, which I think is interesting. I mean, that'll buy Minecraft. You can get full retail games for that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Finally, let's finish up with some Pokemon Go news. The Lunar New Year celebration.
Your favorite segment.
Oh yeah, I love this place. I love this stuff. Lunar New Year celebration is going on right now until February 13th. The following Pokemon will appear more frequently in the wild: Rattata, Ekans, Mankey, Ponyta, Electabuzz, Dratini, Mareep, Miltank, Torchic, Poochyena, Spoink, and Boniri. I bet I pronounced all of those right, didn't I?
I think I pronounced it Poochyena, but
Sure.
One of us, I'm sure, is right.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Or we're not, or we're both wrong. Or it's just Poochie from The Simpsons, and he's gone back to his home planet. Spoink,
yeah, which well represents the Chinese zodiac animals.
Right. Spoink can now be shiny. Also, Meltan will become shiny as of March 4th.
No, starting now until the event started yesterday until March 4th.
Oh, until March 4th. So you go get your shiny Meltans, and then give them to me for Pokemon Let's Go.
Normally, mystery boxes, you can open one every 8 days. During this event, you can open it every 4 days.
Awesome.
So I have one ready to open that I'm waiting for. So time to do it.
Until February 13th, double XP for catches and evolving Pokemon, and an increased chance of traded Pokemon becoming lucky. Niantic also announced there will be a Valentine's Day event on February 14th for you and your sweetheart to get out and catch some Pokemon. And it will feature pink-colored Pokemon, but they have not given out any specifics yet. As you get closer, we'll probably know a little bit more. If that Pokemon event does not include Slowpoke or Slowbro,
they will.
Doing it wrong.
I think they have in the past. It'll like the Jigglypuff, Lovekiss, all of those pink ones.
Clefairy.
Yeah.
Wigglytuff.
Yep.
Wigglymuff.
And there's also rumors going around that during that event will also include double friendship points. So say if you're 10 days away from becoming an ultra friend with someone, you can then do it in 5 if you hit something every day.
Gotcha.
So each event will trigger 2 days worth instead of just 1 day.
Okay. Cool.
So
That's all of our news for this week. Let's just jump right into what we've been playing. Jesse, we will start with you. What have you been playing this week?
all right. So last week I mentioned Pixel Color. I was just getting started on that, and I was enjoying myself for the early puzzles. A little disappointed that I couldn't just jump to the harder ones. I ended up finishing it. I did all 300 puzzles, and in whole was kind of disappointed that it didn't get very hard. I think, of the 300 puzzles, there might have been 10 to 15 that took me more than 6 minutes, and like only 2 that took me more than 10. So I was hoping for more of a challenge. So there's another mode that opened up midway through where it literally makes a randomized puzzle, where it's like nonsense, splotchy mess. Those are probably hard to near impossible at times. I did one. I'm like, okay, this is not fun. I'm not making anything. It's just weird. But I do like the statistics that it gives you. It shows you how many puzzles you solved with hints, without hints. Gives you a graph of puzzles over time, how many you solved. So I was able to beat the whole game within a week.
Huh. So you're completely done with it.
Yeah, I don't know. There may be DLC in the future, but I'm not sure. But
if it's anything like some of the other Pixel games, they'll drop a huge load of like free puzzles on you.
Oh yeah. I remember Pixel Lines did have a lot of free DLC. They pick the other, like the Pixapix games, those are paid DLC, and I know
that's one thing. Like, I think that these are filling a gap in a very underrepresented genre on the Switch, which is puzzle games. Because if you want puzzle games, that really the only thing that you have right now is Puyo Puyo Tetris, Lumines, or some Picross games, right?
Right. There are two
Pixel
games I'm looking at for next week. Let me bring them up again. One is called Minesweeper Genius that comes out on Tuesday.
Right.
It looks like it's kind of a mixture between Sudoku, Picross, and Minesweeper logic. So something new, but taking elements. And the other was I don't remember what it was called. But that comes out tomorrow. It's kind of like solving a puzzle box.
Is it called Cube?
No.
There was one that released on the eShop today, and it's Cube, spelled Kyub.
No, yeah, this comes out tomorrow, so it might be in the upcoming. I'll take a look at it while I talk about the next game. Anyway, so the other game that I've tried is Onigiri, which is a free-to-play MMO, very, very Japanese anime, fan servicey type of game, so kind of not one for the kids. And, it's been out on the PC, I think, since 2014, somewhere in that area. And it came out on the Switch last week. So I tried it, and it's a hot mess on the Switch. So like I was the first time I launched it, loaded up, I was in the character editor. Something came up, I put it in sleep mode, then came back to it, and when I wanted to save my character, nothing happened. Because it lost connection to the servers, but it didn't know it. So I tried backing out to the main menu and going back in, and it still didn't work. I had to force quit the app, come back in, and then make my character. Then I finally made one. Then I went online. It gives you a little tutorial, so you're by your, most of the battles so far seems to be in instances, so it's just you. Those run pretty well. The thing I don't like with the combat, it's your traditional third person type of action. You run around, hold the R button to swing. You can do special attacks with the L button. What I didn't like is sometimes I would like run to the side of a monster, face the monster, and then push the attack button. And when I do, the attack animations instinctively had it always go forward. Whatever screen angle I had, it would then start going away from the monster towards. So the only way to really fight it is I had to keep the monster centered on the screen. And with them running around and jumping around, that was easy. So that kind of was kind of a pain. When I finished at that tutorial level, went to this hub area with a few NPCs and every other player that's in this hub area, it was ugly. People popped in and popped out. It was running at like 5 frames a second.
Oh.
I made a 30-second video clip and put it on Twitter, and with just the words, "Wow, framey." And so, dig that up and you can see for yourself. It's awful. I did make it to another instance dungeon, and then things got smooth again, other than the combat. I want to attack where I'm facing, not always forward on my screen. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm sure it plays better in the mouse and keyboard, like a traditional MMO. But but on the Switch it isn't good.
Jesse, I'm wondering if the game you were mentioning earlier about the puzzle box type thing was access denied.
That's it.
That looks. I was looking that up as you were talking about this other game. This game looks really interesting, and it's only going to be $4.99 on the eShop tomorrow. It's by Ratalaika Games. I like games like this. It kind of reminds me of the interface from Keep Talking and No One Explodes, where you have to disarm the bombs. That would be one that you might want to check out too, by the way, since your family likes Jackbox games. One player holds the switch, and they have the bomb in front of them, and they have to turn it on its side and do different things. Like it has different modules that you have to disarm all the modules to finally disarm the bomb.
Is that the one where you actually literally have a printed manual that the people have to go through?
Well, you can print it out, or you can ask everybody to go to bombmanual.com on their phones. And they can find it, and they can go, you'll be like, what do you see? Well, I've got a section with wires and a section with glyphs and a section with locks and buttons. And yeah, this looks a lot like this. I'm probably going to pick this up. I'm excited about it. Couple of games I've been playing this week.
Before I do, Minesweeper Genius will be $6 on Tuesday, and then Access Denied is $5 tomorrow.
Yeah. So
those
let
are
you
the
talk
games
about
on my
those next
radar.
week. Yeah, we'll let you talk about those next week because I'm serious about there's not enough puzzle games on the Switch. I would love to see something besides Picross, Tetris, and Lumines. Even though I love all that, but who knows? We got to get developers to develop puzzle games again.
Right.
Let's talk about a couple of games I've been playing. This week, just out of the blue, noticed that Downwell was on the eShop, and immediately when I read the description, I was like, yes, this game is for me. Roguelike, falling down a hole, you've got gun boots, shooting enemies. Yes. And
checks all your boxes.
Yes, it sure
Roguelike
does.
with guns.
And love this game. And here's the best part. It's $3. $3 on the Switch. And at that price, you will be tempted to look at it and go, this is, shovelware, or this is just indie crap. It is not. It is fantastic. The music is incredible. It controls like a dream. It's a ton of fun, and you can hop in and play, and die in 5 minutes, But the thing is that every time you play, yes, you have to start over, but every time you play, this little bar goes up at the bottom to earn you different palettes that you can play the game with. And when you first start the game, it's 3 colors. Your character is white, the walls are white, the enemies are outlined in white with a little bit of shadowed red, and the back of the screen is black, and that's it. Then
so
you unlock.
Intentionally made to be hard to see.
Well, it's
Or
not
is
as hard
it
to see as you think it is.
It's still contrasting enough to it's easy. Just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
So, and I mean, it looks like, a Atari game almost.
Okay.
And so after that, you start unlocking palettes. And in the first one, it took all of the red um, or it took all the red and turned it to green. And then the second one I unlocked, it took all the red or the green and turned it to blue. And then I unlocked the Game Boy palette, and it turned everything gray and green and made it look exactly like it was on the original Game Boy. The next one I unlocked was Virtual Boy, and everything is black and red. And that, y'all, if you've never played a Virtual Boy, as someone who has, let me say this, that is the most authentic Virtual Boy experience you will get. It hurt my eyes. It made me sick to my stomach. You just need to play it. And then from there, the next one, and I'm still unlocking these, and there's more and more and more, to unlock. The next one I unlocked was Pastel, and it made it look like it was on the old Atari, or ColecoVision or whatever. Just kind of reminded me of some of those games. And so for $3, quick, fun, precise roguelike with some great power-ups and fantastic music and personality, I don't think you need to miss Downwell on the eShop.
Yeah,
Also,
normally not my thing, but for $3, I think I'll give that one a try.
Yes, please do. And the whole thing is you're falling down a well. I've talked about all the little stuff. Like when we talk about the game, you're falling down a well, so all the enemies are beneath you. And your character, it doesn't explain why. Like the game just starts, and it doesn't explain why. You have a pair of gun boots which shoot downwards, and you can control the game with the control stick or the pad and one button. All of the buttons do the same thing. They jump and they shoot. You press A to jump, then press it again to slow your descent and shoot straight down.
Small game. I've already finished downloading it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tiny, and I think like the development team it mentions there in the beginning is like 4 people, like the original developer, and then the 2 or 3 people who helped port it to the Switch. So totally fun game. Don't miss it. Unless the only thing that I could say is if you absolutely hated the down shaft level from Battletoads, like I kind of got some of that.
I don't remember minding it once I got past the sewer level.
It was good. It was good. Like just go get Downwell. Another game I don't think you need to mention, and this one is a way bigger release, is Wargroove. If you're a fan of real-time strategy games or turn-based strategy games, then this game is most definitely for you. If you have ever wished that Nintendo would make another Advance Wars, this game is for you. Somehow, Shucklefish has managed to make or bring to realization a great mixture of Fire Emblem and Advance Wars. And it just works. The graphics, if you've seen it, it's like 16-bit Game Boy Advance type Advance Wars graphics. Fantastic. The sound, wonderful. Voice acting so far is great. The difficulty is definitely there. But the whole package is fantastic. And the fact that we talked about this last week, I think, too, that not only do you get the campaign game, but you're also able to play multiplayer, and you're also able to develop your own maps, your own cutscenes, and your own campaigns, and share them with your friends online. For $20, this game is an insane value. And we talked it up and hyped it up on the show leading up to it, and we begged, when is it coming out? What's going on? Why is it delayed? Guys, they have done such a fantastic job with this game. It's no wonder that they were able to make their money back in 3 days. The hype for it is outrageous. You don't need to miss it. Like if I'm listing this, like I would list this on like essential eShop experiences that you need to have on the Switch, along with like Dead Cells and Enter the Gungeon and Jackbox Party Pack 3. I think is one of those that you need, that everybody needs. it's just like I can't tell you how good it is. But the thing is if you're a platformer guy or just a traditional JRPG guy and you just do not like turn-based strategy games, that don't get Wargroove, because that's what it is. That's all you're going to find there.
Right.
It's
not my thing.
The only complaint so far that I've had is that battles can seem to go a little bit long. Like you can get into just this back and forth, but like if that's the only complaint that I have about it, then it can't be that bad a game. Where it differs from Advance Wars is that your like if you've ever played Advance Wars, you know that you play as a certain commander who has a power that can affect the units on the terrain, right? But you don't actually have that commander on the battlefield that's maneuverable like the other units. In Wargroove, you do, and they still have those powers. They're just called a groove, like their special groove or the groove power or whatever. And the commander units are really powerful, and they're pretty much like they're high defense against any other unit, high attack against any other unit. But there's still special units that you get. My favorite special unit is the pups. There's dogs. They're called battle pups.
I heard about the dog.
And the battle pup basically functions, if you've ever played Advance Wars, there's a recon unit that has, kind of low attack power, but it has super movement range and visibility. That's a battle pup. But there's also a commander. There's also a commander named Caesar, who is a dog.
An armored dog?
An armored dog who is protected by 2 crossbow-wielding infantry. And the only sound they make, the people don't make any noise. The only sound that the dog makes is bork bork. And so like he kills somebody. He kills somebody and like he pulls up, and it opens the battle scene and it's like bork bork, and the guy they go shoot the crossbows and they all die. There's a side mission early on, like in Act 1 or about midway through Act 1, where you play, or maybe it's the first part of Act 2. Yeah, it is. It's the first part of Act 2 where you play as the commander dog. And you like siege this fortress of like mercenaries. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite moments from the game so far. I want to take a minute right here to plug this. We are beginning a Wargroove League through our Discord. John Blanco and a few others are getting this together. I mentioned it at the top of the show, but I want to mention it again. If you are part of the $5 and up patrons, you can go to a section where the games are and look for Wargroove under that, and you will be able to get into the Wargroove League from there. We're going to be playing games against each other and doing several things, sharing campaigns and things like that.
Looks like it's in the $1 group.
It's in the $1 group. Okay. Well, I'm wrong. Go to the $1 group. Go to Let's Play, right?
It's in its own channel called Wargroove League.
Oh, Wargroove League. Well, scratch all that stuff I just said. Go to the $1 and up patrons can go to Wargroove League and get in on that. All you have to do is find John's post. Can't believe I'm saying this on the show. Find his post and click on the eggplant. Yep. Moving on. Go buy Wargroove. If you love strategy games and war games and things, you won't be disappointed in Wargroove at all. You will love it. The other game I've been playing is not a Nintendo game, but I'm going to talk about it here. It is the most frustrating, confusing game known to man. It's Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm enjoying it, I guess.
I've been thinking about renting it, but I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get myself into that.
Well, Jesse, let me just tell you this before you rent it. It's the only game that I've ever played that has recap videos at the beginning that made me more confused before I started it.
Right, because you didn't play the previous 12 games.
No, I played two of them. I played two of them. I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2.
That's as far as I've gotten. I never even finished the first.
Think about this, which when you're playing Kingdom Hearts 3 should be the only necessary requirements to get in. No. I highly recommend for those of you
who have playing the games in order. Sometimes it's a sequel, sometimes it's a future, sometimes it's a prequel.
I don't know. I may have said this on the show last week. I can't remember. I say a lot on the show. But Polygon, I have a lot of problems with Polygon, but Polygon had a really
their font size.
Yeah, Polygon had a really good article, running down the entire history of the Kingdom Hearts franchise that really make sense to me. Made it make sense.
10-page article.
I can't even talk. This is the Kingdom Hearts effect. But listen, dear listeners, let me tell you this. Understanding Kingdom Hearts. All right? Understanding Kingdom Hearts is like trying to decide if when you jump into water, you get wet or the water gets you instead. All right? There's a lot to Kingdom Hearts lore that you just have to go, and just keep going. Because you know how when you first play, for those of you who are older like me, and you remember when you played Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, and you were like, this is so awesome. We're getting to fight alongside Donald and Goofy and go through all these cool Disney worlds. Well, then Square Enix said, how about we make a bunch of Kingdom Hearts games where you don't do anything Disney related at all? That sounds like fun, right? No.
Does it still have the Final Fantasy character aspect to it, or is that kind of still... It's just all Disney
not that I've seen. I mean, there are some guys in black trench coats who look like they could be the villain of a Final Fantasy game, a random one, and they have menacing Final Fantasy like names like Malusia and Xemnas and Roxas and
this is Organization 13, right?
Lorzine, and they say like Lorzine, like that sounds like Loratab. That's like a pill you take for your allergies.
I was thinking of like a mouthwash.
I don't. Listerine.
Yeah.
Except there's an X in there somewhere. Like the S in Listerine is actually an X. Jesse,
that sounds unpleasant.
Just listen. There's no way you can understand this. You will go mad trying to understand Kingdom Hearts. However, it's a really pretty game, and it plays really well, and there's lots of cool Disney stuff going on. So far, I've got to meet Ratatouille, and I can summon Wreck-It Ralph, and he'll wreck it. And sometimes I get to ride on a rocket ship with Woody and Buzz and explode. And now
the Arendelle stage.
Now I'm hanging out with Rapunzel.
Okay, so you're not yet there.
So that's pretty cool. Arendelle's not even on my map. Okay, but you can better believe.
I watched Roger's Let's Play of some of that.
Listen, you better believe when we get there, I'm going to let it go.
You better.
Because you know why? Because the cold never bothered me anyway.
Is that what you said last week?
Yeah. Yeah. But Kingdom Hearts 3, it is what it is. It is what it is. Fans are going to love it. Skeptics are going to be skeptical about it. And then there's all the people in the middle who are like, what is Kingdom Hearts? And I unfortunately, here's the thing. My Kingdom Hearts hype level was off the charts when I finished 2. And then I played Dream Drop Distance on the 3DS and it sucked. And then I haven't played 1 since then. And so, I'm literally playing through Kingdom Hearts 3 simply to finish the story because I feel like I have to. It's like the last 2 seasons of Lost. I'm just watching this because I need to know what happens. And so I'm playing 3 just because I need to know what happens. After this, I'm probably out.
Yeah.
And it's the only video game in the entire history of video games that my wife will actually look at me and say, hey, will you play Kingdom Hearts 3? I want to watch it.
Wow.
Because
she doesn't want to play it.
She gets sucked in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I watched Game Explain's one of their videos, and they showed footage of the game playing while they talk over it. And the footage they showed was not a twin stick shooter, but kind of like a sin and punishment like shooter. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, I really don't want to play that.
Yeah. It's like they try to take all kinds of games and mash them up because there's like when you're going between worlds, you're on the gummy ship, which you would think that means the gummy bears.
Do they still call it that?
Game. Yeah. Yeah, you're still in the gummy ship.
That was a
You
bad
would think
name
that means
15
that like
years
gummy
ago.
bears are actually in the game, and Disney's finally going to acknowledge one of the finest cartoons it's ever made. Gummy bears? No, it's just going to be called the gummy ship. Nobody's ever going to.
Well, at least there's a DuckTales episode that did reference them last year.
Yes. And listen, Uncle Scrooge is in this game.
Oh, is he?
And he is not David Tennant.
I wonder who is he then?
And I don't know. And he is definitely not the original Scrooge McDuck either, which is really sad.
Well, I don't think the original voice actor is alive
You know,
anymore.
there's even a character in this game that Leonard Nimoy voiced back in the day. Xehanort. He's another one of those guys. And now there was old Xehanort and young Xehanort, and then there's middle Xehanort, and then there...
So there's time travel involved in this. Because it wasn't confusing enough?
I feel like I need to time travel and go back and stop them from making the other 10 games. Anyway, if you want a serious take on it, Polygon. If you want a funny take on it, Video Game Donkey and Jimquisition do some fantastic skewering of Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. And it's good to laugh at what you love. Seriously.
I'll still probably rent it when I can. I don't think this is one I'll buy. Just because I've fallen out of the series. I beat the second,
like the very first level.
Yeah, I beat the second game, got maybe halfway through the first, and then I haven't touched any of the other games.
And listen, don't get me wrong. Like it's a fun game, but I don't know if I'm getting like the full on enjoyment out of it. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I'm like, it's kind of like this immersive lore.
Well, it's like trying to watch Lost Season 7 without watching the seasons 2 through 6.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like trying to watch Star Wars Episode 7 without watching the first 6, and going, "Who is that? Why is that guy important that just got killed?
Why is everyone cheering behind us?"
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like. So that's what we've been playing. Let's move into our community spotlights. And we're going to start our community spotlight out this week with a rarity. We've got a voicemail from Warren G. Akers, fan of the show. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Dads. Warren G. Akers here. I was wondering if you guys might talk about what your expectations are, if you have any, or if they've changed since the sort of reboot of Metroid Prime 4. And you know, obviously, we've had Samus Returns on the 3DS, and some people played it, some people didn't. But I wonder if now that they're starting over, if there's something that you might like to see differently, or updates to the regular Metroid Prime formula, or if maybe even they could bring in some new elements or some things that were a part of 2D Metroid games that didn't quite make it over, and how they could reflect that better for the future. So yeah, thanks, Dads. Take it easy.
Everybody knows how much we love to speculate. Jesse, what about you? I mean, I know Metroid Prime 4 being delayed was a big deal for some people. I don't necessarily know that it is for you.
No, it's a game that I won't play later than normal. That's okay. All that is.
Well, let me answer this then. Everybody knows that I'm going to say 2D. Like, I would love to see some 2D elements incorporated into this game, more than just, like in the past, they've done very brief, I feel, very brief sections that were in the Morph Ball, right? That made them 2D, basically because it made them easier to see and navigate. But I would love to see some more 2D elements. It's just simply for HD Samus and being able to have that. Like, the when I first listened through this voicemail, my first thought was like, you remember how Mario Galaxy had like it was 3D Mario, but then there were sections of it that were 2D. I would love to see that in Metroid. However, if I'm being a little more realistic about what I think we might see, space combat. I would like to see
actually using the gunship as a gunship.
Yes. Samus versus Ridley in space. Yes, please. Please.
That would be new to the series.
Or Samus leaving one planet to go to another and having to navigate through space and encounter space pirates, but now it's just Starlink.
Right.
Right?
Maybe they'll come across some anthropomorphic animals.
I do like maybe just some more interaction with the gunship. I mean, Samus has this awesome ship in her arsenal, and she goes down to a planet and like forgets about it. It's like, oh yeah, I can save there,
and recharge.
Yeah, that's it. Like I'm like, you've got gigantic guns on this, blow the planet up. I don't know. Anyway, honestly, like I don't know what to expect with Metroid Prime 4 because I'm not a huge fan of Metroid as a 3D shooter, or 3D exploration or whatever you want to call it. So
yeah, I need to go back and try to play Returns again. I never went back to that game once I got stuck.
Yeah,
first time.
You got to finish that game. It was so good.
You played it in the weekend, and I didn't.
Yes, I did. I started it early on like midnight Friday morning and I finished it Monday afternoon. It like I could not put it down. It was so good. And mainly, and two, because like I'd beaten the original Metroid, I'd beaten Super Metroid, I'd beaten Fusion. This was the only 2D Metroid I had not beaten. So I kind of
Zero?
Like I had to. That was Zero Mission, yeah. That's how I count beating the original Metroid.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm never beaten it on the NES. Are you kidding me? That's a nightmare.
I have.
Well, good for you. You've also beaten Zelda 2, and I haven't.
True.
I'm trying to make progress on that, and it is not going well. I almost broke my Switch the other day because of Palace number 3. Ugh. Who decided it would be a good idea to make that Zelda that hard and not give you the ability to like have healing items with you?
Life spell.
When you had healing items in the first game.
Yeah, well, that's the RPG elements to try to put in.
Yeah, well, anyway. Let's look at some tweets and some questions we had from fans over on Twitter. Mr. Tim Dosette at Mr. Tim Dosette asked us this: with the announcement of Baldur's Gate. Wait, hang on. Oh yeah, that's right. Baldur's Gate 2, and a bunch of other games like Baldur's Gate got announced.
Yeah, how did we miss that in the news?
And I mean, people are excited about this. I think it's really cool. With the announcement of Baldur's Gate coming out of nowhere, what would be your wildest out of nowhere game announced this year for the Switch? Jesse, go.
Leisure Suit Larry 6.
Never coming to a Nintendo console ever.
You're welcome.
But no, look, I mean, we'll have Panty Party, but we won't have Leisure Suit Larry, right?
Right.
We'll put Peach Ball on the Switch and Galgun. And what's the other one? The one with the realistic physics in the Joy-Con motion, like with HD Rumble.
I don't know.
Senran Kagura, is that the name of it?
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's coming over here too.
Yeah.
And
talk about fan survey games. There you go.
Yeah. So, but I think for me, I've already mentioned it. I want Cuphead on the Switch. I want that game outside of Microsoft. I think it has a huge chance of actually happening because, like, besides Overwatch, what is like, E3 2017, it was Rocket League. E3 2018, it was Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this year it could be Apex Legends. Because they've now all of a sudden Respawn's like, oh yeah, the Switch, because I mean, follow the trail of money, right?
Right.
Before where Respawn was like, there's no way Titanfall ever, blah blah blah. They laughed at it. But now when everybody's laughing at them, they're like, oh yeah, we might consider the Switch. So it could be that, but I think like there's always that big third party game reveal right during the E3 presentation. I would love it to be Cuphead, and I would love it to coincide with the DLC release of Miss Chalice, because there's not a date on that.
Okay, I didn't even know there was more coming.
Oh yeah, they're getting new levels and they're getting a playable character, Miss Chalice. She's the thing that you're saving from the, like, have you seen Cuphead or played it?
I've seen it. No way I've played it.
Okay, so there's these crypts where you're protecting a chalice from ghosts, and it's Miss Chalice. Okay. So you're gonna get to play as her.
So you just gave me an idea. Cuphead DLC 2 for Smash.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, if Joker can do it, anybody can do it at this point.
I would take it. I would take it. I would be. That would be good.
With Mugman as one of its alts.
Yeah, and if it had the song in the background, like if it had the hand drawn art stage, now if it doesn't happen, I blame you.
You're welcome.
Because you put that in. You spoke that into my mind, and now. Anyway,
and if it happens, I'm going to say I'm
question.
right.
At Metroid Hunter, Rhinos asked us this: what happened to Pikmin 4?
Yes, it did. It happened. Yeah, so
it did.
The story that I've heard is, which of course, no idea if it's true or not, is when Miyamoto said Pikmin 4 was almost done, he doesn't necessarily mean literally the game named Pikmin 4, but he was referring to Hey Pikmin.
Oh yeah, I completely believe that.
Yeah.
That's Pikmin 4.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for a legit Pikmin 4.
Do I believe that this like unannounced game that fans will be delighted about? Do I think it could be Pikmin? Sure. Do I think they might call it Pikmin 4? Yeah.
It would make sense since the last one was 3.
Right?
If the gameplay is your traditional Pikmin gameplay, it would make sense that they would then continue the numbering. Just like Hey Pikmin did not, because that was a different game.
Yeah. But I completely believe that Pikmin 4, as it was called then, was Hey Pikmin.
Right.
And I know some people didn't like that game. I thought it was cool. I like Pikmin. I liked Hey Pikmin. I mean, it didn't just like set the world on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I played it. It wasn't as enjoyable as a regular Pikmin game, but I played through it.
See, I don't like regular Pikmin. I liked this better.
See,
I always thought 2D Pikmin would be fantastic.
And I'm not a real-time strategy player, but I like Pikmin.
Yeah. See, Pikmin. The thing about Pikmin is that there's too much for me, like analysis paralysis. Like, oh, what do I do? Oh, am I supposed to be here? Oh, all my Pikmin just died.
Well, that's my problem with games like StarCraft. That's this high on my what I can do at one time list.
But here's
my brain doesn't multitask that way.
Here's one thing that we can credit Hey Pikmin with. It gave us one of the best amiibos that Nintendo has ever produced.
I don't remember what Pikmin amiibo was. Oh yeah, I don't know if I had that one.
I'm looking at it right now. It's over there on the shelf with all the little Pikmin on it. It's wonderful. They're on the little cinder block. It's fantastic. One of the best sculpts they ever did. At TechMike12 asks us this: will Assassin's Creed 3 be announced for the Nintendo Switch on the next Direct? Maybe that's why it isn't listed on the game announcement. If we get another Direct. Why are they remaking Assassin's Creed 3?
I didn't even know they were.
Yeah, there's a remaster coming out. It's already
Is this the one that was released on the Wii U when it launched?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it did well.
It's not Black Flag. This is the one that's a colonial
before
time.
That. Yeah.
This is the colonial times one.
Yeah, I tried playing that and had no idea what I was doing.
I know some people really like these games, but I don't get it. I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I liked the Prince of Persia trilogy. Yeah,
which kind of the predecessor to what Assassin's Creed became. But I never got into Assassin's Creed.
I think it has a good chance of coming to the Switch. I don't think it's going to be too like graphically intensive or anything, but like it strikes me as odd. Why are they remaking this one and not the first two?
You think they would? You think they'd remaster the Ezio trilogy if they're going to do any of the old ones?
Right. Yeah, that was. I think
those seem to be the most
ones, right.
Yeah. At least I heard the first. At least with the problems that the first one had, they fixed it with the second one, and then they kept evolving it from that within its own trilogy in that universe.
Yeah. And to answer Tech Mike's question, like I'm gonna say this, like, will Nintendo announce it in a direct? That's a really good question right now because we don't know.
Something like that might be an E3.
Tomorrow it could be. Yeah, it could be an E3, but like tomorrow they could tweet out, "Oh, Assassin's Creed 3 is coming to the Switch." With the way that they've been doing lately,
and then put out a press release 30 minutes later. I'm like, why do it that way?
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for, but I think I totally think it could come to the Switch. But will it is the question. Zombie Duck Rob asks us this. I love this question. In your own opinion,
his name.
In your own opinion, what is the most overrated Switch game? Mr. Waldak.
Well, I'd probably answer Smash, but it probably is worthy of its...
No, that's
but, you know... Yeah, no, I don't know. In the games everyone else likes, I don't. So, like, I can pick on any one of them, and I'd be right from my point of view. So, I'm probably not
true. That's true. I'm going to say this, and I don't want to say it because people are going to flip out. Breath of the Wild. And I'm saying that as a fan of the game. I loved Breath of the Wild. I enjoyed it. But here's the thing. I bought the DLC 1 and DLC 2. I've completed the first part of the Master Quest or the Master Sword trial, and I have not touched that game in about a year.
Yeah, I never finished any of the DLCs. I think I got 2/3 through the sword, and that the bike quest didn't get even finished the first dungeon.
Like I know that's probably going to raise some hairs on the back of people's necks, but I'm not saying that like overrated. That's such a
and I kind of agree with you. And put it this way, I am not planning on replaying that game for a long time. Where I'm probably ready to replay through Twilight Princess and Wind Waker again.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Like, I think that when I think of the like my concept of overrated when I'm thinking of this is that a lot of people praise this game without ever pointing out some of its most glaring flaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's one of the reasons. It's probably the main reason I would say it's overrated. That I don't, and hear me when I say I don't think it's a bad game at all. It's a fantastic game. But as far as a game in the Zelda franchise that is accessible, no, absolutely not accessible to younger players.
Yeah, I don't know, my daughter, who isn't as much of a gamer, tried. I don't think she's ever got past the second dungeon.
Yeah. And again, people are going to say, "Oh, you hate Zelda." No, I loved Zelda. I love Zelda. It's great. I enjoyed the game.
Yeah, I want
but
another
it is
2D.
overrated.
I'm ready for another 2D Zelda.
Me too.
Because I was talking about it with my son a few weeks ago, and I mistakenly told him the last one was Link Between Worlds. And I forgot about Triforce Heroes because it's forgettable.
Well, it's easy to forget about that.
Right. You know, so even if that's still our last 2D Zelda, we're due.
Yeah.
You know,
can I tell you what I really want to see? You know what I really want them to do, Jesse?
A Zelda 2 remake?
Well, I want them to do a Zelda 2 remake. Yes, I want them to make it where I can play it. The other thing I really want them to do is I really, really want them to remake Link's Awakening.
That's
I
worthy of a remake.
really, really want a remake of Link's Awakening. I would even take a 3D remake of Link's Awakening. Like, but if they did it 2D, if they did it on the Switch, great. But if people on here talk, and y'all know how I feel about the 3DS. If they remade Link's Awakening on the 3DS, I'm first in line. One of my favorite Zeldas of all time.
I hope if they do that, they kind of do a bundle of that Seasons or Ages. Because Seasons and Ages are the two that I haven't finished.
Yeah, I own those and have never. They're on my
Yeah,
3DS.
they're on mine too.
I need to finish those.
And
I need to do that.
And in order to get to the final boss, you pretty much have to play through both games and enter in the codes and whatnot. If they're in one package, they can do it within itself. You don't need all the convoluted crap.
That's a great idea. They can redo all three of those because they borrow art assets from each other.
Right. And
borrow music
use the same engine, use the same assets. It's perfect.
Absolutely. I think that is the way to go.
Give the bow to the Chomp Chomp.
That's right. And you know what, Jesse? That is one of the reasons I love that game so much is the trading meta game that's in there.
I'm normally not a fan of fetch quests, but that one is enjoyable.
Oh, it was so good. And all of the like Mario references. Yeah. I need this now. At Spence Orr asks us this. If a Switch Mini were to be released, by the way, a lot of people believe that Nintendo is going to release a new SKU of the Switch that's going to be some kind of upgrade or something like that. Some people are toying with the idea of a Switch Mini. Nothing officially announced. Nintendo, of course, has said there's no comment at this time. We have nothing to report. But he asks us is if a Switch Mini were to be released, which features would you be okay with losing, and which are deal breakers?
So we're talking about specifically a junior, a lower version, right?
Yeah, like because I think what the core of his question is, it's if a junior or a mini is released, it's going to have to lose some features, right?
Right.
Because they're wanting to position this as like my first Switch or introductory,
so
whatever.
What I imagine them doing, which I would be okay with. These are the things. These are everything I'd be okay with. Non-detachable Joy-Con, which helps give it more stability for a younger hand. Doesn't come with a dock, but still compatible with the dock. So if you have older brothers in the TV, they can still use it, and of course still compatible with extra Joy-Con, so you can still get the wireless play if you want. But you got to pay the extra to get the dock to get the Joy-Con. But just out of the box, they'll have those things reduced. Probably it'll have a very smaller footprint. I don't think it can get much smaller. For the smaller hands.
Mm-hmm.
But so everything is still compatible with everything else. It's just less things in the box to deal with and losing.
Yeah, I think for me, getting rid of IR on the main unit, because you're not going to take the whole Switch and point it at the TV, right? Like on the bottom of the right Joy-Con, that would strip out a little bit of money. Getting rid of, I think a necessary strike for a mini is getting rid of NFC. I think they have. I think if it's going to shrink a little bit,
and the rumble, we could probably do away with the rumble on that's what's attached.
Yeah.
For those that still want the NFC in the rumble, again, they can.
Yeah, you can buy Joy-Cons.
So you can still buy detached Joy-Cons.
But that, like having it all in one housing, like a smooth unit, that has the controls. I would be lying if I said that if they did it, I would wish that they would swap the right stick position and make the buttons lower. because again, they're not detachable. Why would you need the right stick to be lower? Um, Other
Right.
than they may just want to keep it like it is. But one feature I think that we could potentially see in a Switch like this is cutting some of those corners, like cutting out NFC and everything, to make something more like an attachable faceplate that would cover it over when it's in a backpack or something that would keep the screen from getting scratched. A clamshell.
That kind of similar to like the iPad cover I have.
Yeah. Well, but maybe one that's permanent. Is what I'm thinking. Like maybe one that like is on a hinge at the top.
Right.
That
Well, yeah.
does
Instead of being held by a magnet, it's actually physically attached.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
still
something like that.
so it works kind of like a clamshell 3DS,
and the
but
reason
not really a
the,
clamshell.
like what I'm basing that off of is the hybrid cases that Nintendo has had out, since the start of the Switch that cover just the tablet part and not the Joy-Cons. And it does have that fold over clamshell that protects the screen. If they can add that in and cut out some of the other extraneous gadgetry inside the Joy-Cons, why not? Because that just sell it to kids and say, oh, look, and it flip over and it can protect your screen, but then it like clips to the back, when you're not using it. It makes,
Maybe it
that
could
way it's
fold
out of
and
your
be used as a more stable stand.
It could. Absolutely.
Again, very much like how my iPad can fold up and be a stand.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think those are some of the things that I think cutting out, like you said, cutting out the ability to remove the Joy-Cons, that's got to go for it to be that kind of mini unit.
And
But
and I think
a
this
deal
would,
breaker for me, a deal
Yeah.
breaker for me would be the inability to connect other Joy-Cons.
you
Or
still have to
controllers.
be. It's still got to be able to connect more controllers.
Yeah, because like if
So-
you've got that, then one of the pillars of Nintendo's releases over the last 2 years, Super Mario Party is unplayable
Right. One two
on that
switch.
console if you don't have extra Joy-Cons.
Right.
1-2 switch, that's another one. I don't think anybody's playing that, but
No, but again, it's a good demo unit to learn what it can do. It's not
Yeah.
really good. You play it once and you're done. You'll never touch it again. But it's still good to play it once.
you remember how Nintendo when they like halfway through or sometime into the Wii's life cycle, Wii Sports came with the Wii, but then they released Wii Play.
Vaguely, I don't.
There
think
was a title called Wii Play. It had pool. It had a few other games. I mean,
is that the
they
one
weren't
that
great.
came with a remote?
Yeah,
So-
it came with a remote.
Yeah,
What
and
I'm thinking is,
I
what
did
if
buy
they did
that.
again?
I bought it because of the remote, and
Yeah.
because of it, it was like the third most sold game but no one played the game. They just got it for the remote.
Did it come with the Wii Motion Plus, or did
No,
it just?
this was
come with
before that. This was still launch era.
Yeah, so Wii Play came out. I'm thinking we could see Nintendo do that again, possibly with this Switch Mini, have like a little packing game or something like that would show off some of the features of the Switch Mini, but not all of them, like NFC. And I think the gyro controls still have to work,
Yeah.
because of gyro aiming in Fortnite and Splatoon and Doom and others, still touted as a big thing. I think that's got to be in there. But I think they could lose NFC really easy. I mean, I don't think that's necessary.
Not many games supports Amiibo. You know.
And Rumble, I think, at first when you first said that, I was like, but the more I think about it, I think that's a good,
because
great
more and more
question.
third-party wired controllers don't have Rumble.
Yeah.
And
that is a fantastic question. At Jason Lee at Lone Bengals fan asks us this: do you think Nintendo should kill the 3DS? Yes. Let's move on. Justin's not here. We don't have to talk about this. I digress. Nintendo is not killing the 3DS. Everybody else is doing it for them. At It's a Bug Hunt Man, ask us this: what previous Nintendo game do you wish had gotten the Metroid Prime 4 treatment and was completely restarted before release? Ooh.
the Wii U tennis game.
Like the Wii Sports Resort?
No, the Mario tennis game that was garbage.
Mario Ultra Smash.
Yeah.
Yes. Star Fox Zero.
Yeah.
Star Fox Zero, otherwise known as the single-handed killer of the Star Fox franchise. Um, yeah, Star Fox Zero needed a reboot.
No.
Somebody needed to go to Miyamoto and say, Miyamoto, you're drunk. Go home. Stop it. Get some help. Let us do this. That's it for me, and that's a great answer too. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was a waste of $50 for me.
And the
60.
Animal Crossing thing as well. The Animal Crossing Wii U.
Oh, you talking about like the
Amiibo
Plaza?
Festival?
Amiibo Festival. There's another one that brings up Happy Home Designer. Garbage. I'm sorry. I said it.
I thought some people. Yeah, I thought that a lot of people liked that one.
At the time, I liked it, but like being further removed from it, it's just a tech demo.
Right.
It's just.
I can see. I agree with that based on what I heard, but I would expect to see what they learned from that in the next Animal Crossing game.
Oh, if that type of arranging your stuff isn't there, then they've learned nothing.
Which also is a very valid possibility.
Yep. You're saying right. It is Nintendo. Michael and Mua15 Mua asks us this: is there a game you are yet to pick up despite being on your watch list for a while? I'm still waiting to pick up Kirby Star Allies, but don't want to pay full price for it. Also, with the talk of Xbox Live coming to the Switch, what games would you like to see? Mine would be Plants vs. Zombies. Yes, I like that idea.
I don't know if I'd buy it again because I've bought it twice and beat it both times. I bought it once on PC and once on iPad. But I'm sure there are people out there who would still buy it again. Or for the first time.
Crashers.
What?
Castle Crashers.
Oh.
Castle Crashers.
The song at the end of
the
song at the end of Plants vs. Zombies is worth playing through it.
Yes, it is. Actually, the whole entirety of the original Plants vs. Zombies is entirely worth playing through just for the experience. The whole of Plants vs. Zombies 2 is worth burning the code in a fire and forgetting it ever happened.
Right. That's what happens when you try to get microtransactions into something that doesn't belong.
Like I said to somebody earlier this week, you remember when PopCap used to make good games?
No.
Then EA bought them.
Right. Yeah,
is there a game I have yet to pick up? Yes. For me, that's Wolfenstein 2. Like, I've heard really good things about it, but I just cannot make myself pull the trigger. Get it?
Yes. Bang, bang.
What about you, Jesse? Any game that you're holding out on?
The only game I can think of is that Atari Flashback Collection. It's 150 games between the 2600, 5200, I think even 7800 at arcade. So there's some duplicates going on in there. So like 3 versions of Breakout. So, but ultimately, but it's a $40 game. So on paper, it sounds like a lot of content, but the question is how many of those 150 games are worth playing more than once?
Yeah.
If it was 30, I might, but 20 definitely. But for 40, I don't know.
Well,
so I've held off on that one.
As somebody who purchased the Sega Genesis collection with the best of intentions, let me just say, and has only booted it up about 3
fell
times.
in the same hole as what I'm worried about on the Atari?
Yeah, like I love those games, and I have very fond memories of them. But like I played Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that was Sonic.
Yeah.
That was Altered Beast.
I think it doesn't have a lot of no, I can't think of it. Activision games. I think if they had Pitfall 2, I would have bought it. I would have paid $40 for Pitfall 2 again. But it doesn't have Pitfall 2 in it, so that's why I'm still wishy-washy on it. I'll wait for a sale.
Yeah. One last question, and Jesse, this may be more of a Jesse Waldack question than for me. At Mecha Dragon asks us this. Actually, at Mecha Dragon 101 says, "What are your guys' take on the death of Screw Attack this week, and their rebranding to just being called the Death Battle Channel? thus letting the Screw Attack name phase out. Do any of you guys have fond memories on that site?
I didn't hear of this, so yeah, no, I
That's
don't
the first I've
subscribe.
heard of it too.
I don't subscribe to them. I have watched some of their death battle videos, just specifically because other people talk about it and shared it. So I see them on Twitter, so I link it. So I click it and watch it. But now that liking a video no longer posts, I don't know what's out there. I don't, because I thought about subscribing, but they put too much other junk out there I don't care about. So I don't want to subscribe to them and get all that junk email. Like Machinima is another thing, another similar channel. There are some things in there I like, but most of it I don't care about.
Apparently this happened midweek, but like I didn't even notice. Bleeding Cool, I've got an article from them on it. It said, in a move that will shock no one currently watching the channel, but will surprise others who haven't, Screw Attack is now Death Battle. So, it's...
So if that's all it's doing, I might now subscribe to it.
It seems like it has been coming for a while. I didn't know that Rooster Teeth had taken them over.
Oh?
Yeah. And it's apparently been a long time ago, which for Mecha Dragon, for his question, should show you how much I am. And I'll say this, like, before joining this podcast and actually being a patron of this podcast, before joining the cast of it, I had never found a video game community that I felt like I belonged to. And that's why I love our community so much, is that, I'm hosting the show or one of the hosts of the show. But I still feel like I'm part of the community and not just, he's on the podcast. So I really love what we've been able to build over there. And that's not a Patreon commercial. I'm not going to throw out the link or anything. I'm just saying, like, I love interacting with the people that we have come into contact with because of this show. And so, like, most of my video game news before this came from IGN or came from, like back in the day. I don't know, Jesse, do you remember Planet GameCube?
Yeah. Didn't that now turn into NWR?
Possibly. Yeah.
I think
so. Yeah. Like Planet GameCube back in the day, and Reddit. So, like, and I don't even read Reddit. It's my Nintendo news and Nintendo Soup.
I've never read Reddit.
Yeah, don't. It's anyway.
Anyway, so I looked at the Screw Attack or the Death Battle page, and crap like this is why I don't subscribe to them, because there are 7 videos talking about the next video that's to come before the actual video comes out, and one of them is an hour long talking about the cast. I'm like, the actual video itself, which is Aquaman versus Namor, is like a 20-minute video. So I might watch that. It just
kind of shows you that.
But there's so much garbage in here, I don't want to sub to them.
It kind of shows you what was making them the money, right?
Right. Well, they're also trying to appease the YouTube algorithm. If they don't put out something 2 or 3 times a week, they're going to fall off of notifications.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when they launched Death Battle, and it was just like a fun little concept, and now it's all they do. And a lot of YouTube stuff like this eventually eats itself, right? I mean, like, not to throw anybody under the bus, but like, I really, really enjoyed at one time Epic Rap Battles of History.
Yeah. And
then like there was it kind of got to the point where it was like, this isn't great anymore. Yeah.
So looking at these videos, the view counts, it looks like the majority of the people also don't care about the other crap, because the Aquaman versus Namor has 737,000 views, and all of the other ones leading up to it has
50,000.
Yeah, there's a 50,000 to 35,000. There's a few in the near or just over 200, but that's a third of what the actual video got.
Yeah,
And that was posted yesterday. So that's 737,000 views was in 24 hours.
For a channel that boasts 4 million followers, to put out videos that only get 50,000 views, not a good look.
Right. But they're trying to be relevant to the algorithm.
You can't just focus on the algorithm. It will kill you. It will eat you alive. But that's neither here nor there. Guys, we want to thank you for joining us tonight on this episode of Nintendo Dads with just me and old Uncle Jesse. I guess whereas before sometimes you get the Euro boys, tonight you get the good old boys. And so we want to take just a minute right now as we shut down the show to thank some people and to point you in a couple of directions that we that you can interact with us at. We want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers. That's Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off. Thank you guys for supporting us at the producer level. We love you guys, but we also love all of our patrons, $1 and up. Thank you so much. And listen, come over. If you're in the Discord, come over, be a part of our weekly Let's Plays, jump into those Nintendo Dads tournaments, get into the War Groove League as well. And you can do that by going over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and supporting us even at $1 a month gets you access to that. You can follow us on all kinds of social media at Nintendo Dads. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, anywhere. Just look for Nintendo Dads at Nintendo Dads, and we are there. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. And you can be like our good friend Warren G. Akers and call in and leave us a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. And hey, if you want to wear a picture of me dressed as Mega Man on your chest or sleep under a king-size duvet cover with Jesse dressed as Tingle, you can go over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dad Store, all lowercase, and you can make your dream a reality and get you one of those sweet phone cases like Jesse just held up. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And thanks to Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for the sweet art we use all the time. You guys are awesome. Guys, thanks for watching and listening to this episode 216 of Nintendo Dads. We'll be back next week for more Nintendo stuff and goodness. That's it for me and Jesse. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Please understand.
Love it. Great way to